my name is Veronica. Welcome to my channel, Happy Lady One-on-One. Besides making travel vlogs and showing you the places I go to visit, I also like to talk about traveling and give you some traveling tips, especially for those who really enjoy it, or maybe you're the first timer who likes to explore the world. I personally started traveling the world when I was a teenager, and I really loved that exploration, meeting new friends, and just it was a lot of fun for me. On many of my trips, I traveled alone, and that's why I would like to share my tips and tricks on how to travel alone, what are the precautions, the safety measures that you should take, especially if you're a female. People travel solo at any age, but since 2011, when it was only 6% of solo travelers, nowadays it's 25% of people who travel alone, and 85% of those people are females. Did you know that the average age of solo traveler is a female of 47 years old? And only 12% of solo travelers are younger people of 18 to 26-year-olds. So as you see, most travelers are over the age of 40 and they're females. I did some research on what countries are safe to travel for females alone and what countries are not the safest. And overall, from my own experience as well, I would tell you that going to Europe is usually pretty safe to travel alone. Maybe you would like to go to Japan. Japan is also very safe. On the other hand, United States and Canada, as well as South America, are not considered the safest places to travel for a female alone. The other rule of thumb for me is not to book a solo trip to a Muslim country, just because females in those countries are not allowed to walk around outside alone without a male. So if you like to go to Dubai or maybe Egypt, make sure you have some companions with you, whether it's a friend, a family member, a boyfriend, or somebody who will be with you at all times, just in case something happens. There are also countries that are pretty poor that I would not suggest for you to travel alone. Maybe it's Mexico or some other Central American countries. But in any case, anywhere you plan on going, there are a couple of precautions I would like to share with you and some safety rules that I used for myself as well. First thing you can do is pretend that you're traveling with an imaginary husband. You can even buy yourself a fake ring that you can wear around. This way it will keep some attention away from you. Scan your important documents and make copies of your important documents. This way, you will have a copy of it in your phone if you scan them, or on paper if you print it out as copies. I always do that for my passport. This way, if something happens, I always have a copy of my passport either at the hotel or a copy on me, because you never know what can happen, and you can always have a copy of your passport either digitally or on paper. You can also save a digital copy on the cloud. Also, make sure you have all the important phone numbers stored in your phone or maybe written down somewhere, so that in case the technology fails or your battery dies, you will at least have some paper trail. When you arrive to a new country, a lot of times at the airport, they have a place where you can purchase unlocked SIM card for your phone. This way, in this new country, you can have a working phone with directions and internet access in case something happens or you need to make a call. Usually it's not a very expensive service, and it's definitely worthwhile to have, especially if you're traveling alone. Keep your phone on you at all times. Also try to memorize the emergency phone numbers. This way, if something happens to your phone, you can at least call a friend or family member to let them know about the emergency. When I traveled solo to Europe, I tried to keep it to myself and not really make any connections or any friends, because I didn't want anybody to know where I'm from, what my plans are, where I'm staying. I always worried about my safety, so I tried to keep it less social when I was traveling alone. You might feel different and you want to find friends, and I'm going to share a few tips about that a little bit later. The other thing that I usually do when I'm traveling alone and I'm walking around and doing sightseeing is I try to avoid the eye contact. It's also going to be safer if you're not posting on social media where you're going, what you're doing. Post all of these things when you come back home, but don't do it during your travels so that nobody can track you down. Before you go to a foreign country, do some research about the country so that you know their culture, traditions, what they wear. Maybe there is some dress code that you should consider. Most of the times I book my activities in advance. So I go to either buyeater.com or booking.com to purchase activities and make plans in advance. This way, everything is already pre-planned, prepaid for. You don't have to worry about your safety. You usually go with a group of tourists. Then you can, of course, socialize and be friendly with those people. But at least this way, nobody's going to get you scammed or you won't get in trouble. This way, you won't have any surprises about the costs or any additional expenses for that specific tour or trip. Many times I even book taxis in advance. You can do that on that app that I was talking about. I usually do it on booking.com. I pre-book my taxis from the airport to the hotel and then back to the airport. This way I know exactly how much I'm going to pay. The fare usually includes the tip, or if you're taking Uber, it's also a good way in that specific country to get a ride. If you're stuck with getting a taxi on your own, make sure you discuss it with the taxi driver and negotiate the price, so that you know upfront how much it's going to cost you, because they will try to charge you, of course, more. So you can go from one taxi driver to another to negotiate that cost of the taxi ride. And of course, for safety reasons, make sure you get the license tag and the name of the driver, so that in the future, if something happens during that ride, you can always report them or talk to the police or whatever your circumstances are. At least you will have the record of the taxi cab and its driver. Make sure you bring extra pair of your glasses or sunglasses and all the other essentials that you usually need in your purse. When I travel to Europe or even in any other countries, a lot of times they don't have toilet paper in the bathrooms or they don't have a sanitizer. So I do bring those things with me, even in my own water bottle with a filter. The other essentials that you can pack is a flashlight, a toilet seat cover, maybe a funnel if you're going hiking or you're somewhere in the countryside. Bring some tissues, some napkins, maybe a small towel, maybe a small size that you can put in your purse if you're going to wash your hands. Besides hand sanitizer, you can bring your own soap. They sell compact soaps on Amazon that you can purchase and put in your purse. The size is so small, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below to the video where I go over those essentials for personal hygiene for some of those third world countries where they don't have soap in the bathrooms or toilet paper. So I bring those little essentials with me just in case. Many times you also have to pay for a public bathroom. So bring some cash with you, maybe small coins or small bills, because when you're using the public bathroom, they might not have a credit card machine there, and you will need to pay with coins or smaller bills. Whether I'm sightseeing or going on a tour, I'm always trying to be aware of my surroundings to see what's going on around me. I also try to avoid big crowds or try to stay away from those alleys that are not crowded at all or you don't see any people in there, maybe darker areas. And stay away from those small streets or darker corners, especially if you don't know the area and you've never been to this place before. For the safety reasons, you can even bring a personal alarm. I found this on Amazon. It's called Birdie. This personal alarm is supposed to make a very loud sound. So you can either keep it in your pocket or in your little purse or wherever it's convenient for you to reach it. Here's the alarm that I was talking about. I need to pull the string out in order to activate the alarm. As you heard, it was pretty loud. And especially in the quiet evening time, or if you go into a public bathroom and you feel unsafe or somebody is following you, this will be a great little tool to have in your pocket just in case. My friends usually joke and make fun of me when I start running away from any trouble happening in the streets. I have this habit because I grew up in the big city that if something is happening in the street, somebody is screaming or somebody is fighting, what I do is I usually don't stand and watch. I run away from it or I walk away. I never stay to see who's gonna win the fight or who is gonna beat each other up. A lot of times it's a safety thing. You don't really want to stay for the action. You don't want to stay for the show. If somebody's asking you to call the ambulance or call 911, you can definitely assist them. But the best rule of thumb for especially solo female travelers is don't stay and watch. Just walk away or run off. One more thing I do in the hotel rooms, I don't usually put stuff or my valuables into the safe. and sometimes you can use it. But if you're staying in this hotel that might not be the expensive one, maybe it's 3 stars or 2.5 stars, you don't want to give anybody an impression, especially those people who clean your rooms, that you have something valuable on you. So what I usually do is I hide my valuables, if it's passport information or maybe extra money or maybe my extra credit cards, or any technology, maybe your tablet or your secondary cell phone. I usually hide it inside of my bag or the luggage bag, and I put a padlock on it. This way, if somebody's cleaning my room and I don't have anything in the safe, this way any of my valuables are locked up in the luggage bag with a padlock. When you're staying in the hotel and you don't want anybody to walk in, make sure you either bring a lock with you, they sell them on Amazon, or you put a do not disturb sign on the other side of the door. There were a couple of occasions when the cleaning people were trying to get in, or somebody was trying to get into the room, and I was sleeping, actually taking a nap during the day, and people just walked in. It wasn't just a bad surprise, but it was also an embarrassment because I was sleeping naked, and they opened the door and you could see the whole bed and the whole room right there. So make sure you have something either hanging on the door on the outside or bring a special lock that nobody can just get into your room when you're in there. Or maybe you're not staying in the room at this moment, you're doing sightseeing, but you don't want the cleaning people to come in or anybody else get into your room. So take those precautions.
Somebody know me better. I thought that I would miss her more, but I wake up and I feel better, 'cause I let somebody go. We've been going on forever. There's no more crying on the floor, and she said it's now or never. So I let somebody.
Most of my solo traveling I did in my 20s, and I was very young, and I was a little bit worried that something can happen at night if I go late by myself anywhere, even to eat. So I tried to get all of my sightseeing and all of my eating and touring done before 6 p.m. And I could get up early, maybe 6 a.m. to go sightseeing again, but I tried to stay evening hours in the hotel as a single female because I didn't want to attract any attention. That's why I was back in the hotel in the evening hours at all times. When you're traveling alone, it's great to keep some cash or some of your valuables, maybe some of your credit cards back in the hotel. Don't carry all of your cash and everything with you. I have a few stories from when I was younger. One story was back in Czech Republic. I was in Prague with my friends. It was other female friends. And we were walking around at night, looking at the beautiful sights, looking at the city. And a couple of men walked up to us. They were not dressed in any police uniform or anything, but they told us they were police and they wanted to check our ID. So of course, we didn't know any better. We were probably 16 or 17 years old. So we all pulled our wallets out and showed them our ID. And then they wanted also to see the content of our wallets. So of course, we were too young and too naive. And we showed them how much money we had in the wallets. And at that time, I was really young. I didn't really have a lot of money. Maybe it was, I don't know, $20 or $30 in my wallet at the time. So these men saw that we didn't have much money to take from us, so they left us alone. But if it was more significant amount of money in the wallet, you would not want to be in that position because, of course, you don't know who these people are. They might pull a gun on you or they might threaten you. So keep some money in there, but don't keep all of your money in your wallet or in your purse when you're going on the tour or you're exploring the new town. It also was the evening time, so we should have stayed home or stayed in the hotel and be more safe that way. Nowadays, when I'm traveling by myself, I also bring a special theft-proof bag with me. There are a couple of these I found on Amazon by Travel-On, and these bags are great because you can lock the pockets, it has nice compartments, and it's RFID secure, so you can put your valuables, your credit cards, and your cash in these bags as well as your passport. And you really cannot cut through these bags because this special material that is not only theft-proof, but you cannot break it, you cannot cut through it, you cannot get inside of the bag without really putting a lot of effort into it. I love these bags. I have a couple of them. I have a backpack and I have a little purse that goes crossbody or over your shoulder. Definitely consider purchasing one of these bags for yourself if you're traveling solo. This way nobody can get into your bag or steal your belongings. And if you do bring any cash on you, don't bring all of it at once. Leave some in the hotel. This way, if anybody approaches you or anybody is trying to threaten you, at least you don't have all your money on you. When I go on tours or do sightseeing, I try to wear comfortable walking shoes so I can run away or walk away quickly. So pack light, but make sure you bring comfortable walking shoes. The other thing that you can do is you can bring your own earbuds to pretend that you're a local person. You definitely want to hear what is happening around you. So keep the earbuds in there for maybe directions or just to pretend that you're the local. And that's why there will be less questions. The other thing I do is, besides avoiding any kind of social contact, talking to anybody, I also pretend that I don't understand when anybody is talking to me. In a lot of places, they will try to sell you souvenirs. Maybe people will walk up to you begging for money or anything else. In that case, the earbuds and pretending that you don't hear them or you don't understand them will work greatly for you, and it will be also your safety. When you're traveling solo as a female, you don't want to attract a lot of attention to yourself. So don't get all dolled up, all pretty. Try to stay casual. Also try to look up and stay confident. Because if you are looking like a tourist and you're opening a map or you're hesitating or you're spending too much time looking around, you're giving everybody an impression that you're a tourist. And people will more likely come up to you, and then you will definitely be giving out those signs to the pickpocketers that you're a tourist and a good target. If it is your first solo trip, maybe you should do a test run before that and go somewhere more local, closer to home. This way you can see how you feel about traveling solo and if it is for you. When you're booking your flight and hotels to a new destination, pre-book some other things as well, or at least research them, because there's a lot of public transportation in a lot of places in Europe. It will definitely be a good thing for you to research the public transportation like metro, trains, because when I was booking my hotels in Europe, I tried to book a hotel next to the train station or not far from the metro that you can walk to, and you don't have to take taxi all the time. Or if you're taking a taxi, then you can also pre-book it in advance. So there is nothing unexpected, no surprises, and you know where you're going and the area around that place. Many times I even print out the maps of the metro or the maps of the area where the hotel is. So I can always get the walking directions in case my phone doesn't work or when I cannot get on Wi-Fi or the internet to find my way back to the hotel. If you have a phone with a SIM card of that local country, it's of course you can get Google directions and you can walk back or you can figure it out. But for public transportation, you need to do that research in advance. And sometimes in Europe, you can even take trains from one country to another. It's a cheap way to get around Europe, to go from country to country by train. In a couple of hours, you're in a new country, and if you want to explore, it's awesome. But you need to do that research in advance because there are trains everywhere, and you don't have to take a flight from one European country to another. When you're leaving to a new destination, make sure your family or friends have your itinerary. They know where you're staying, what dates you're supposed to be where. This way, if anything ever happens to you, they can track you down and find where you are. Also do your research in advance before you're traveling to a new country to see how safe it is to travel there. Those portals and that information is available online. If you're from the United States, you can even register yourself that you're going to that specific country, and you will be registered with the local consulate. So if there is any kind of emergency, they will contact you or they will know that you're in that country during that emergency. Some countries will require a visa. A lot of visas can be acquired online. It's a small form that you fill out, pay maybe a $20 fee, depending on the country you're going to. Nowadays, everything can be done online. A lot of people purchase travel insurance and medical insurance because it could be some emergencies, either medical emergencies or delayed flights, lost luggage, and things like that. So if you have medical or travel insurance, it can be very, very helpful in those emergency situations. Now let's talk about the languages. And as you know, Europe speaks so many languages, or any country you go to, they have their own language, of course, but most of the world speaks English as well. Yes, there will be some random people who don't understand you or who cannot speak English or cannot answer you, so you can always ask somebody else. Most of the hotels, they have the staff that speak multiple languages, and English is never a problem. Any country in the world will have people who speak English. So you should never worry about the language. And then if you do need to translate something, use Google Translate or use the internet to be able to communicate for something very basic if you're at the restaurant or would like to translate the menu, or just ask them what they're famous for, and they can do some recommendations as far as food. If you're very social, you would like to meet friends on your trips, and you're not going with a group, you're going solo, you're traveling solo, what you can do is you can download a couple of apps in advance, and you can meet people that way. There is an app called Tourlina, and it's only female travelers on this app that you can meet. If you want to meet people of all genders, there's also Backpacker app. And you can even use a dating app like Bumble that allows you to meet friends rather than dates, or if you want to meet a date, that's fine too. Just make sure this is something you really want to do. It's not for everybody. Some people like myself, I don't want to meet anybody when I travel solo. I just want to go see the beautiful country, do the sightseeing, and I want to stay away from people. But if you're social, if you want to meet some friends, you have different options. You can also use maps.me for offline directions. If you don't have internet access on your phone for whatever reason, download this app and you will have maps on your phone when you're getting directions or walking around the new town. You can even download Be Safe app on your phone, and that will track down your journey and your location. Thank you so much for watching my video till the end. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave comments or questions below, and stay tuned for more episodes from Happy Lady 101. Take care!